Reggae Boys fans, good evening. How is everybody doing? Welcome to Reggae Boys commentary on this Corona Thursday, a third Thursday in a row. May 1, May 8, and now May 15. Time flies, isn't it? A lot can happen in 14 days. Your hair can grow back, a player can move to another club, and people can make comments about what's happening. Before we get into all of that, you know what? Let's get right into it, shall we? Leon Bailey was on Instagram Live quite recently, and he said that there's no way that Jamaica should not qualify for the 2022 FIFA World Cup in Qatar, because he believes that we have the quality in every department to make it to that next level. And he says that if Jamaica does not qualify, it won't be down to the players, but it will be down to the administration. So let's analyze this, shall we? Does the administration pick the players? No. Coach Whitmore does, right? And the technical team. So, in effect, if Jamaica does not qualify for the World Cup, we'll have to look at the circumstances and the matches match by match to see if the quality is there. Is it a lack of finishing? Is it poor defensive? But let's say it's the squad that we took to the Gold Cup. I would not be convinced for the squad that we took to the Gold Cup. If we used and utilized the exact replica 23-man squad that went to the Gold Cup and made it to the semi-finals, we wouldn't even scrape a playoff berth. And I'm being serious, honest about it. That squad needs at least 7 injections. The good news is that a couple of members that were not in the Gold Cup squad have been regulars in the national program for some time as well, namely Adrian Mariappa. For me, it's going to be him and Damien Lowe in the heart of the defence. Michael Hector will either be a holding midfielder or will be an understudy in central defence. Right back looks like Alphas Powell, left back looks like Kemar Taxi Lawrence. In goal, the skipper Andre Blake. Amal Knight is chomping at the bit. So the back four kind of picks itself. The midfield and the attacking options. Now that is something to really think about. Will it be the fault of the GFF if Jamaica does not qualify for the 2022 World Cup? In part, but I wouldn't say they take 100% of the blame. For me, the majority of the blame would go to the manager, the head coach, because he knew and he knows when the qualifiers are. So therefore, this discussion about chopping and changing, yes, I'm the one on this channel for the past 4 years that is always for the introduction of players. But you can search every single video that I've done on this channel. I have never, ever asked for a player to make his debut in a World Cup qualifier. I have always said I want this guy to make a debut in a friendly. I've never said a World Cup qualifier or a Gold Cup for a man to make his debut. It's happened before on the top. Jermaine Beckford, McCleary, Theo Robinson, and company. Now his argument may be there's not a lot of FIFA dates. But I say to you, when you took the job in 2016, what were you building towards? We're not going to the 2018 World Cup. So when you took over the job in 2016 and we played against Guyana, what were you building towards? Just the Caribbean Cup semi-finals and the Gold Cup of 2017. I'm sure you must have at least had in mind what was to come in 2020. The World Cup qualifiers. And this is an area that should have been prioritized because there's now at least 5 pieces to the puzzle that have not been put in place as yet. And whenever the World Cup qualifiers are, August, September, October, December, March 2021, whenever the qualifiers are, you're going to see a handful of players making their debut in a World Cup qualifier, in a Gold Cup, in a CONCACAF Nations League game. For those who have been watching this channel since the inception in 2016, they already know my thoughts on the manager. And I'm not talking team manager Roy Simpson, I'm talking the head coach. So let's start, shall we? Yardi J.A. says, true, Linford Drummond, they pick the coach. Ibrook Amaju just joining how long you started. I started about 5.5 minutes ago, 6. To me, I think we don't need Watson. Well, as I've stressed on this stream and as I've stressed in previous videos, I don't have a problem with Javon Watson being in a 23-man squad because I've traveled with the Reggae Boys in the past. And I know what he brings to the team, not only on the pitch, but also in the dressing room as well. Team meetings, huddles, I know exactly what he brings to the table. So I don't have a problem with him being in the 23-man squad. But to play game after game, then we have a different conversation. But being in the 23-man squad, I'm fine. Perfectly fine with that because I still think he has a job to offer, even for 45 minutes. That tenacity, that work rate, that's not something that you can purchase. BM, I agree with Leon. I've said before, Tapa is not a man to take the Jamaica to the next level. The next question is, what is the next level? I'm just going to lay it straight for you guys. There's more to life and there's more to football than just qualifying for a World Cup. Simply put, qualifying for the World Cup should not be the finishing line. You know, like, happiness should not be a goal. It's something that's with you all the time. Like when you're trying to get a promotion at work or get 100 on a class assignment, that is success, but that's not the finishing line. And for me, getting Jamaica to a FIFA World Cup, although it may be successful, it's by no means the top of our mountain or the top of our hill. So even if that's not in our wavelength for 2022, it doesn't mean that we're not successful as a team. There's more to life, there's more to football than just getting to a World Cup. Putting a structure in place. Breaking the monopoly in CONCACAF. We've been 3rd in the region, 4th in the region for some time. Can we break that oligopoly, Mexico and the United States? Mexico has had their program together for decades. And I can say undisputedly that they are number 1 in CONCACAF, and I will accept that. But I personally believe that we can be number 2 in the region. Breaking into the top 30 of the FIFA rankings. Getting our footballers playing professionally outside of this country. North America, Europe, Asia. For me, that is progress. Football being considered professional in this country. I know I've digressed, but I'm going to finish the point. That is professional. not playing players in this country 40,000 Jamaican dollars a month. What can 300 US really do? A footballer has a wife and kids. Can he put food on the table after he pays his light and water bill? No, he can't. There are avenues out there that can be and should be explored. Do you know how much Emirati tycoons are out there right now waiting for an opportunity with a football club to buy in? And they don't necessarily want it to be in Europe or England. The Caribbean is an emerging market. And of the English-speaking territories, Jamaica and Trinidad are not only the most populated, but well off in terms of infrastructure. They're not going to touch Trinidad because of the dirty passage that they currently have right now. Would they talk to Jamaica? I'm absolutely certain that an Emirati entrepreneur would certainly talk to a Jamaican club. That would be the first step for me. Paying players a professional salary. Similar salaries that players are getting in the USL, 3,000 US dollars a week, minimum. You eat, sleep, breathe football. Our players shouldn't be saying to myself, oh, I have my 9-to-5 job and I have to go to training after this and I have to go home and eat dinner and then I have to wake up 5 o'clock the next morning. No. This is not 1865. This is 2020 and we're still talking about footballers working multiple jobs. Football is the working man's class game. It's for the working class. Football has moved much, much, much far in 150 years or less than that. There's so much in this country that needs to be done. We have 12 teams in the Red Star Premier League. You're watching a European league, right? And 1 hour before every game, you can pick up your phone and find out the starting 11 for that team. 1 hour before kickoff. 1 minute before kickoff in Jamaica, you can't even know the starting 11. You get team sheets and you see 12 names ticked, and everybody knows that 11 players play on a football field. You get a team sheet and 10 names are ticked. You get a team sheet and 2 players will wear the same number on the back of their shirt. That is what we're dealing with in this country. And for me, success is making football in this country professional. Football is not a pastime. It's not a hobby. It's an industry now. And the sooner that we realize it, is the sooner in this country that things are going to take off. Football is a religion in the top countries in this world. It's not in this country. It's not. World Cup is not the finishing line. You can get to a World Cup and still be in disarray. You see what's happening to our women's program? I bet you right now that we don't play another women's international game, the Reggae Girls, until the 2023 Women's World Cup qualifiers. You watch. You watch. The finishing line is not getting to a World Cup. We all want to see that happen. It's just like, you might disagree with me on this, but that's fine. It's my opinion. It's just like you're a man and you have a young lady. The finishing line is not copulation. The finishing line is having a wonderful relationship with her. the moments that you share, the growth. So just like for me, the finishing line for Jamaican football is ensuring that every player in this country gets an adequate salary, proper pitches, and proper exportation of players. Okay, I've ranted enough, and now it's time to look at what you guys are saying in the comments. By World Cup qualifying, the squad should be ready. If ready, by ready, I mean that we, in a sense, get the necessary players. Yeah, I think that we'll at least get half of the players that we so desired for the start of the qualifiers. We soon come play for Jamaica and bring Unugo World Cup. Real Talk, that's what Real Talk TV said. Okay. I broke Palma. Real Talk TV. Them France boy. Them can't pass my defense. Okay. Travis Watson days are over. He's not fit enough. Slower now. As I said, he can't manage 90 minutes, but he can certainly do a job for another year. When do you think Kevin Lambert and Junior Flemings will get his choice? I think Lambert will get an opportunity soon in the national team. I even think that with another USL season under his belt, that a European move is imminent for him. Junior Flemings, this is the season now for him. We've seen that he can score goals in the USL. Can he do what Dane Kelly did? Can he get 18 a season? Can he get 20 a season? That would be the transformation of him to move to Europe or an MLS side. It's on to the next step now. Junior Fleming is not 15 anymore. He's closer to 25. I want to see a coach promote young players and have vision, playing attacking football, creative, you know? Well, yeah, we all want to see that. And the great thing is that we have players that have the ability to do that. Ibrook, just letting you know, my name is spelled Simon. Simone is Simone. Travis Junior Flemings is not good enough yet. He dropped too much play for Jamaica compared to Phoenix. Comes to the support that he's getting as well from midfield. It is embarrassing to watch Jamaica play and can barely put 3 or 4 passes together. Part of that is a lack of familiarity among the players. That happens. Tev Campbell says we need Daniel James. Manchester United's Daniel James? I think his great-grandfather was born here. I'll have to check on that. But I'm pretty sure his great-grandfather was born here. It starts in the development phase. What is the state of youth development in Jamaica? Well, inquisitive. Next month was supposed to be the CONCACAF Under-20 Men's Championship. And guess what? No team was in camp. Flemings was such an outstanding Manning Cup star. He has to be involved somehow, though. I feel that he will be at some point. I think he adds as a squad player, I think there is something that he can add. We don't have the proper infrastructure to do that. If you can elaborate, Mr. Cruyff, then I'd appreciate that. We don't have a technical director who's making the right decisions. Norton Morse, what is your question? Jason Brady, teams have to have chemistry, absolutely. US $300 a month is a joke for football in Jamaica, exactly. You can't have a starting lineup of players who are not playing in the UEFA top 5 leagues and expect to be competitive in tournaments. Players need to be paid better. Only Bailey is in the top 5 and his value is diminishing. Is Belgium a top 5 league? No, but Sean Nicholson will be in the top 5 league soon. I don't think USL players make 3,000 a week, Simon. I would have to double check. Some do. Not all, because the average player in the league is actually on 3,000 a month. Not 3,000 a week, 3,000 a month. But you do have other players higher up on the scale than others, but the base salary is 1,500 US a month for USL. It's not a lot of money, but it gets you around. Actually, MLS players make some decent money. Andre Blake is on 500,000 US a year, and MLS teams are going to take a 50% pay cut. Well, it's proposed. The union is working with it to try to arrange better terms. Perhaps instead of a 50% cut, they would take a 20 or 25% cut. So those terms are being worked. So Alvas Powell, who earns big wages, Andre Blake, in addition to him, Rashawn Daly, Neil Fisher. Norton Morris, do you think Whitmore has weakened the pocket of the JFF by chopping and changing the team caused by a lack of intimacy between ballers and US or ballers and us? Low match turnout. Weaken the pockets. No, I don't think he has contributed to the pocket of the JFF. No, not at all. Tapa has not contributed to that at all. No. We need grassroots foundation. Yeah. I don't think them business bought the players, them own a business bought them pay. We've heard that before. We need a Caribbean League. I have to ask Randy Phillips about that. The CONCACAF, Randy Harris, the president of CONCACAF, about that. Shamar Nicholson is the best Jamaican player. He was our best player of 2019 for sure. Do you think FIFA should clean out JFF like they're doing to Trinidad? I can tell you though, if that happens, I think the only problem we have there is that we have to go from being a cash-based organization to using checks and wire transfers and stuff like that. We need proper pitches. It's a bit more technical. Absolutely. Simon, what is your dream lineup for World Cup? That is a good question, and I'm going to get back to that. We need 2 defensive midfielders to start, not in home games. Oh, but 2 to add to the squad, then yeah, I agree. Rolanda Aarons, Daniel Johnson, Ravel, Jamil Matt, Junior Moraes, Akeem Rose, Reese Charles Cook, Jamal Blackman, Mason Holgate, Reese Oxford, Den Hazel need to be called up. I agree with all except Denzel Hall. I would put in Curtis Tilt instead. Consistency should be the ultimate goal. I'm sure even Bailey could agree. Can Blake go to Europe and play? He certainly can. I think Bailey should captain the team because of his experience. I think it's too early to captain right now. Each at the World Cup FIFA rankings. Yeah, I know if you go to the World Cup and even if you lose all 3 games, you can still move up heavily in the rankings. What about Rohan Ince, Giovanni Brown, Jamar Loza? Terry Fenwick, the head coach of Trinidad and Tobago, is on Rohan Ince. That's what I understand right now. Yeah, no problem, Mr. Palmer. All is well. Chemistry is key, but it's a team sport and business, so the business end is not properly structured, then the dominoes will fall. Marx is another player who earns well in the MLS. Yes, he is. I think he's released by Cincinnati, though. We need back English-based players like Ravel Morrison. We need him in the squad, that's for sure. We need another classy centre-back to replace Mariappa soon. Yeah, I didn't even think about that in terms of a proper replacement, but I think that Jamoy Topi is somebody that can slot into his shoes quite well. Good with the ball at his feet. Just want to big up your program, always informative. Continue to give us insights. Keep it up. Thank you, Mr. Ferguson. Damani Stubbs, Deva Orgil, Matux should be playing in Europe. Orgil is in Turkey. Matux missed this opportunity when he was at Vancouver. Did Matux resolve legal matters? No, I think that case has been pushed off to June. Yeah, that legal case has been pushed to June. Yeah, pretty sure about that. Omar Walker should get his chance in England, prefer League One or League Two clubs. My sources indicate that Rangers are taking a look at his footage in Scotland. Shamar Nicholson, Leon Bailey, Damon Lowe are the top 3 standout players on the Jamaican team. In recent times, yeah. Marvin Bartley is my boy. Yeah. Jaden King, Bailey and Shamar may face off in Europa League. That's possible. Joe Smith, you think Whitmore doing a good job? Results are indicating that he is getting a good job, but I do think that the squad needs reinforcements. So yes, to answer your question, he is doing a decent job. We see a Murray Bell replacement, Shea Dunkley soon. Alex Marshall needs to go Europe. He's in Canada now. I don't think he'll be in Europe right now. Ben Godfrey from Norwich Abala. He's waiting on England. Andre Gray wants to play for Jamaica. Isaac Hayden, Barbados is on to him. Dwight Gale wants to play for Jamaica, and Damari Gray is still waiting for an England call-up. I think Jamaica RSPL should go to a franchise system with no relegation. It will help with youth development. So what's going to happen to the other clubs across the island? Ted Gamble, Simon Bembo should always be in Jamaica starting lineup. Cardell Benbow, man. Yeah, he still has some work to do as it relates to his outputs. Still think that he should be scoring more goals. I think our local players should target European clubs instead of MLS USL. That's the thing though, most of our footballing agents are based in the North American market, so that's why a majority of our players are getting that opportunity. We need 2 skillful attacking midfield general. Yep. What's the best under 20 player other than McGee? Is Jamai Topi 20 yet? Lamar Walker. When do you think Flemings, Lambert will move into England or top 5 leagues? Lambert, a season or 2 from now. Flemings, perhaps 3 or 4. Jamaican players should go to UK football trials in England. So Damani, let me tell you this. What Trinidad and Tobago, Barbados, Bermuda has that Jamaica doesn't have is that they can enter the United Kingdom without a British visa, a UK visa. Jamaicans need a British visa, and I find that to be head-scratching. Jamaicans built England, the railway, the industrial system. Jamaicans built England. England's national teams since the 1980s have been flocked by Jamaican and Caribbean talent. So Trinidadians, Bajans, Bermudans will always get trials in England because they don't need a visa to go to England, while we do, and the process, if you don't fill out the right paperwork, can be lengthy. I got through within a couple of weeks, but that's me. But if you don't know what you're filling out, it can take you a while. So that is the concern. Things move slow in Jamaica, really slow. May never hear from Revel Morrison again. Sorry if I sound negative or impatient. That's reality. What happened to Norman Campbell in Italy? Norman is back in Jamaica, but Udinese liked him, but their finances are at a dent right now. So I'm not sure if a contract will be offered to him. Reece Oxford, Hall, Wisdom, Lawrence, Ricardo Henning, Reece Brown. Yeah, 14 franchise, 1 team in each parish. Then what's going to happen to the likes of Olympic Gardens, Constant Spring, Ligoni United, Rockford, Santos? What's going to happen to clubs like those? They're going to die? If our players aren't able to play in the top 5 leagues in the world, I think Belgium, Holland, Portugal are decent leagues. I agree with you 100%. Get Ivan Toney. Let's see if he's Jamaican. He has 24 goals in League One. I'll double check on him. Jaden King, who is the best Caribbean player? The best Caribbean player currently? As in right now? Mar Nicholson. With the current Caribbean teams improving, do you think we should bring back the Caribbean Cup? Randy Harris, the president of the Caribbean Football Union, says it will make a return, but not now. Not now. We're looking more 2026. What about players taking advantage of the US college system? I wouldn't, though. For me, it's a process. So, we never required a visa until recently, thanks to our silly brothers and sisters who were doing illicit things in the 2000s in the UK. You said it. Is Cal Butler only picked because of Bailey? Cal Butler hasn't even made his debut for Jamaica senior team. We need more teams in the Premier League because many talent isn't showing. Premier League in Jamaica? I'd be okay with a 15-team format. Why are Phoenix players not in JFF under 15, under 17, under 20? It's what they choose to do. Duran says, I think too much power and are given to parishes, clubs, and presidents to vote. That's something that FIFA will investigate. Do you think it would be a good thing if Jamaica and other Caribbean teams got invited to play in the African Cup of Nations? Not a bad idea. The only concern is that, oh yeah, they changed the African Cup of Nations to June, July, so it now fits into the FIFA window. I was going to say that if it was in the January time period, then we wouldn't be able to get our overseas-based players, but it's a good idea. I like it. I think if the tournament is held like in Ghana, Senegal, those places, and I think it would work out because it would have a good ring to it, like back to Africa, because in the 15th, 16th, 17th century, I'm also in the local league. I said it a couple of minutes ago. I think it's time for Lambert and Fleming to move. When is the Red Star Premier League resuming? The president of the Jamaica Football Federation said that on Friday that a decision will be made as to its fate, if it will resume or if it will be cancelled for the season. So we'll know tomorrow. Simon, what do you think of them revising World Cup qualifiers? I personally don't have an issue with it because it's going to mean more games, and you know how I'm a fan of more games. Yeah. Because the 2019 edition of the African Nations Cup, I remember, it was held in June, July. So unless the 2021 edition has gone back to January, then we'll see. What about Kevon Atkinson and Martin Davis? He is a good finisher, that is Atkinson, but he's not playing at a high league, isn't he? The clubs don't have to die, just relocate the team's fan base. A lot of Jamaicans don't know the rest of the country, just only Kingston. We don't have clubs in St. Elizabeth, Manchester, or Trelawney. That's something to consider. I'm anxious to see the next big star from Phoenix. I hope Bailey is not a one-off. Why do JFF didn't want to pair with Craig Butler since he can get the links in Europe? Now that's a question that I wish I knew the answer to. What Bundesliga team will be supporting? I support only 3 teams, and everybody knows that. Jamaica, Manchester United, and England. Those are the 3 teams that I support alone. And everybody knows the reasons already. Any news on Darren Mattock's case? It's been postponed to June. Do you think Jamaica have a good enough squad to go to the World Cup? I personally think that 2026 is our opportunity. I'm not writing off 2022, but I personally think 2026 Cup. 2022, still think it's gonna be tight. Mexico's on the ball. USA is on the ball. They'll learn their lesson, trust me. Costa Rica is going through transition. Honduras going through transition. Panama going through transition. You give Honduras a benefit of the doubt as a Central American country that rises to the occasion, so that's 3 spots right there. We go through a playoff. We'll play South America team, we'll play Chile, we'll go to Asia, we'll play Australia or Iran, we'll go to Oceania, We'll play New Zealand, so it depends on the confederation that we're playing against. Depends. Mount Pleasant is doing a good job. They certainly are. Matthew Ben says we're third best in CONCACAF currently. And the rankings speak for itself, doesn't it? Canada are on the rise. Yo, Canada. Alphonso Davis, Jonathan David, David Edgar, Osorio, Simon Thomas, Maxime Crepeux, and company. Canada is coming. Don't forget Curacao and Haiti. My. It's going to be some qualification system. It's going to be something. And I think with the advent of the Canadian Premier League, that it's going to give Canadian football a real impetus and boost. So that's something to bear in mind. Jamaica need a youth league similar to what European teams are doing, similar to what USL is doing next year. They're going to have a USL Academy League for players aged 15 to 19. We have CASAFA under 15, 17, 20, 13, 10. Why not have an island-wide thing? That's something to consider. Yeah, so a lot of work, Rigger Boys fans, but I tell you something, nothing happens before its time, and everything falls into place in due time. Rigger Boys fans, thank you very much for being part of the stream on Corona Thursdays. Really nice to hear from you all right? Don't forget to subscribe to Rigger Boys Commentary, and before you leave the stream, give me a big thumbs up, please. Big thumbs up. Please. Just come so. All right, respect. All right, generals, take care. Have a good evening. Stay safe. Wear your mask. Tana yard. If circumstances allow you to do so. If you go into office, then you do wear your mask. You know. Get a haircut. Stay occupied. Stay tuned to Rigger Boys Commentary. All right, guys. Take care.